Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the Mezco 112 Collective Space Ghost. For a place to get all your collectibles, click the link in the description below to head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, so ever since Mezco started putting out their 112 Collective figures, I think their first one was the Batman figure, they have really upped the game in this sort of 6-inch to 7-inch scale. I think they're pretty much the Hot Toys of this scale. And this particular figure here really reinforces that view for me anyway. Now, I've passed on most of their other figures, this being my first, because I really can't go doubling up on too many characters and so on in the space that I have and the money that I have. But I picked this one because in the 80s, as I was growing up, I loved all the cartoons that were shown, and that included Transformers, Masters of the Universe, etc. And this was one of the ones that I watched a lot during the 80s. And it is, I didn't realize at the time, but it is a cartoon that was started in the 60s. And it was just rerun here in Australia through the 80s. And that's where I caught most of the episodes, and I guess this figure has a lot of nostalgia for me, so when they announced it, I definitely wanted to pick it up, and I am definitely not disappointed with the quality of Mezco as they're putting out these figures. The packaging here, I'll just quickly go through that. It's a nice, simple, classy, so nothing too fancy there. The front there, sorry about blip. The back does have some nice artwork of the figure there. It does come with a outer slip cover that I've just taken off, but it's essentially the same as the original box art here, and it does have the magnetized front there, so it's pretty much like a mini Hot Toys figure, if you want to call it that, which I think is fantastic. Accessories wise, it comes with quite a few things, which is always good for these figures. I'll just move the figures out of the way. It does come with this base, which I think is nicely done. I do like that design. Now this hole here, it did come with this little tiny peg that I had to push out from underneath, which is the smaller peg hole for the feet, if you wanted to just have him standing on there, or it can fit this flight stand if you want him posed up in the air, which is pretty nice. It doesn't have any padding on this clamp here, which should be okay, I guess, on the outfit. The outfit is a fairly durable material, but we'll get to that shortly. But I do like that they've given these display options. So overall, pretty much up to par with those Bandai figures that you see with these particular flight stands. It comes with the alternate head sculpt here, which is the snarling type or grimacing type head sculpt. I think I prefer the standard one, to be honest. Now the neck does look a little bit chunky, but overall I think that is pretty accurate to the cartoon, so I can't complain about that too much. So overall, the paint application, the sculpting, and I do like the teeth. The teeth, it looks like he's half smiling, but the teeth on there look pretty damn good too, so good option there. Comes with a suite of hands for all of his action poses. So he does come with the 2 fists out of the box, but he has all of these weird motioning hands, flying hands, etc. So plenty of display options there for you. And the swap out isn't too bad. Just be careful, because the wrist joint is pretty small, so just be careful you don't snap that. There are no spares, so just be careful there. And then of course it comes with all of his various laser blasts, laser blasts and things like that. So, and they all come with their hands attached, so you don't have to sort of mount them on the hands that you get separately. So I do like each one of these. They're sculpted with this clear translucent plastic, and the paint application overall on this bottom end here is pretty good. The ones I probably don't like the most are these ones. I think these ones he might have used the most in the cartoon, if my memory's fading a bit on the cartoon. But these two aren't too bad, but a bit more changes or transitions in the plastic would have been nice, like this one here, where you get the bright orange at the front here. Now these do bend a little bit, but they are a little bit fragile, so just be careful you don't snap these pieces off. But overall, these are great display options, and this one here doesn't have a hand, as I was saying, so this one might just to fit around one of the fists or something like that. But I'll there is an instruction book, so I'm just double check that. And similarly for this one, so this one might just you just might stick his hand in there. But overall, plenty of display options, particularly when he's on the flight stand. But I'll give you guys a closer look at Blip for now. Alright, so here is his Sidekick, and overall it's not too bad. I think the paint application in the face could have been a bit sharper, but overall it's not too bad. The eyes sort of blend in into the mask there a little bit, but overall it's pretty good. I do like the metallic sheen on the outfit there, and the backpack and so on. I think the biggest issue with the figure, I think, is that it really is a little bit too big. In size comparison, it sort of it's almost half the size of Space Ghost here, but I do recall him being a little bit smaller. But overall, I guess they couldn't fit all of the details and articulation that they wanted into that size. So overall, on display, it probably won't look too bad depending on where you put him. Now, out of the box, the joints do come strangely packed and distorted in some weird manner to get it fitting in the box. And I actually found it quite hard to rotate these joints to get him looking sort of semi-decent in that sort of monkey pose. But all the joints are pretty flexible and rotatable, so you can, with a bit of futzing, get him into a decent sort of monkey crouching pose like this. So you do have the joints along here. They're a bit, I guess, a little bit unsightly, but once you have him crouching down, you can't really notice them too much. The feet aren't too bad. They're on all these ball joints and so on, so you can get lots of ankle rocking and rotation there. Similarly with the forearms there's no sort of wrist articulation, but you probably have him in that sort of monkey style pose anyway, and the head does rotate. There's not much tilting action there, but rotation wise it's not too bad. So overall, a pretty decent accessory there. But onto the main figure. Alright, so here is Space Ghost, and I have to say I think it is absolutely fantastic. I'm always a little bit paranoid about figures with these fabric suits. For example, the Hot Toys 1966 Batman was notorious with that suit being so delicate that I haven't even touched it, to be honest, for maybe a couple of years, because just running my fingers over it would cause scuff marks. But whatever material Mezco have used here isn't so delicate that I'm totally paranoid about using my bare hands. I have seen other people put on their gloves to move this figure around, but as long as you keep your fingers clean, because it is pretty much a stark white suit, you should be okay from a robustness or a longevity perspective on the suit. So I think they've done a pretty good job with that material. The cape, I think, is like an almost sheer material, but it's got a beautiful wire through it, so you can get it in lots of dynamic poses in the air and so on. So I'd love that material there. It's almost like the materials you find on jewelry gloves and things like that, so definitely like that. The patterning on the suit itself, if I just hold it still, you can sort of see that patterning. It looks really, really nice, and it's a full body suit, so it doesn't stop at the shoes or anything like that. So I'm not sure how they stitched it all together. There's no zip, but it looks like the figure itself is all stitched together. So a fantastic job through their production there. And again, there's the head sculpt. Articulation wise, you can get it looking down a little bit, looking up. I'm not sure how it can get it more than that without taking it off. So flight poses, not sure. I might have to check some other photos on how they get the figure into those flight poses with the head looking a little bit further up. But for me, it's not that the articulation is not that great in the head. But I probably won't have him in a flight pose. I'll probably have him in some sort of action pose on the ground. I do like the center emblem there. That looks really nice. Articulation in the arms is the usual. I wouldn't stress it out too much by going too far, but you can bring it out and you can rotate it to the front and back. Just be careful how you get it bunched up in the suit there. Elbows about 90 degrees, not too bad. Like the gauntlets there. I think you might not be able to rotate them. They might be. Oh no, there's a bit of give in there, so they're not stuck onto the suit. So just pose them up how you will. And the belt there, it sort of does ride a little bit high, but you can push it down a little bit so it doesn't look too bad. I think that looks pretty damn good. Articulation in the legs. Just be careful with the suit stretching in under the groin there, but it can get in some fairly wide poses, and the legs have a pretty good range of motion there. Knees are double jointed knees, as you can see, so just be careful there, bending the suit, but overall it does look pretty damn good. And then the ankles. The only thing with the feet, he does look like his feet are a little bit too big in size for the proportion, but for the most part, the articulation, you can get the rocking, a little bit of rocking motion there and rotation, so I think there's plenty of articulation there, enough to get him into some decent poses, so I can't complain too much about that. And there is the waist motion there, and the torso ab crunch there, which is pretty good. So overall, all the articulation that you would expect from a figure like this. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. I probably will be skipping on most of the figures from Mezco unless they start announcing more classic characters from 80s cartoons. I mean, if they start doing that, or from other older series that I'm not doubling up with figures from Hot Toys or anything like that, then I'll definitely get some more. But I totally understand why other collectors love Mezco and this 112 line so much. So hopefully you like that quick look at Space Ghost. Hopefully you can click that subscribe button as well, because I do have some upcoming reviews for the Bandai Archer Samurai Stormtrooper, and also the SH Figure Arts Ryu and Chun-Li coming up next. So hopefully you can subscribe and stay tuned for that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.